Back at you with another one. Now this one is another one from Malo20 at MALO20 on Mercari. Check out his page. Got this to me promptly. Now this is a figure that not only have I been wanting for a while now, it's the talk of the town in the figure industry lately. You know what I mean? Like, 5-star reviews from everybody that touches it pretty much. So I'm very, very excited about it. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. I can't wait to compare it with another figure we know. And let's get it out of the box and check it out. Now, all right, shout out once again to Malo20, who definitely, like, this is why I say you should check out his page. Look at the care he goes into making sure we got the Bed Bath & Beyond foam here too, that the figure gets to you safe. So please check out his page, MALO20. Thank you for handling the package with so much care, man. A sneaky peeky through the foam. Can you guess what it is? Feel the cool breeze of ice breath. All right, box got a little dinged up, but so what? Anyway, this is the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire Shimo. I love the heavy metal writing for Shimo right there in purple. That looks nice. Of course, you got a very big picture of the figure on the front of the box. It's a big box. It's a bigger box than the SH Monster Art Shimo. So you got the Hiya logos, Toho, Legendary, and the Monsterverse. You also got Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire on the top. Same thing on the bottom. On one side, you're going to have Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire with the Toho, Legendary, and Monsterverse logo. And a nice picture of Shimo's crystals. On the other side, you're going to have the same thing and another picture of Shimo's crystals. And on the back, you know, just a bunch of stuff, Twitter and Facebook pages. And then you're going to have two nice pictures of the figure right here, Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. So the box, to me, is just okay. It's nothing special. Front is pretty cool. A little disappointed that it's kind of dented up, but whatever, it happens, man. So, yes, Shimo, Hiya Shimo. Yeah, everybody's talking about this figure. Every reviewer, I watched a ton of them. Mostly everybody really loves it. You know, calling it one of the best figures put out by Hiya, and just one of the best figures of, you know, the recent figures that have been coming out, you know. And I already got and reviewed the SH Monster Art Shimo, which I most certainly will be bringing out later on in the review to compare the two. Yeah, I can't wait to get it out. Hiya Shimo. Let's crack it. Let's crack the box open and get her out of there. Okay, so to give you a quick view of the packaging, wow, you can see it's just a big, huge box and huge clamshell. Shimo's tail looks tremendous, but you know, you can see this is a big box. All right, let's see if we could get a little plastic crinkling sound. Oh yeah, unveiler. Wow. Yeah, so that's, I mean, automatically the paint job just jumps right out at you. It's very nice brushing. That's cool. Yeah, it's cool that Hiya stayed committed to giving Shimo some texture on her skin, and I like that. Ah, wow, that smells great. It's got that new figure smell, the plastic smell. All right, let's get her out of there. Okay, so some first impressions, and I'm just going to throw you what came to my mind right away, like word association. You know, it's a decent sculpt. It's got some cool paint on the dorsal plates, like that was that iridescent look to it. is kind of interesting. You know, the overall paint job to me seems kind of like overdone. If you see it in person and you see these like purplish iridescent nails and the way it just shines, it's like, it looks like, you know, Shimo's got on makeup. You know, it looks like the Avon lady of the Monsterverse right here. You know, like, this looks like the LGBTQ version of Shimo, you know, like, so, but, and I don't know what it is that makes it look like that. I don't know if it's the skin-like tone underneath on his hands and feet, you know, like, don't get me wrong, the paint job is well done and the figure is well done, but they may have just gone a little bit overboard with that, like, iridescent look to it. It's glossy. It's a little bit on the glossy side here and there. You can see the shine of it. I don't know. It's nice. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to pose it to really, you know, go through it and see what the different articulation is. But first impression is it's not better than the SH Monster Art Shimo, to me, anyway. You know what I mean? We'll go head to head with them, but I don't know. The SH Monster Art to me is like the nicer looking and feeling in hand Shimo. You know what I mean? Just and these are just first thoughts. You know what I mean? I could change my mind as we pose this. And as the video goes along. But yeah, and that's not to take anything away from this, because this is really nice, and I think the detail on the face and detail everywhere here is commendable. You know what I mean? It's very well done. And just to turn to the side, other reviewers have pointed out, even the bottom of the feet and the detail on the bottom of the feet and the bottom of his body and tail are extremely well done. So you could tell, you know, they put a lot into this. The neck, the body, there's nooks and crannies everywhere, and it's very, very painstakingly done. The eyes, to me, are just okay. Kind of strange, but not bad. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're too small, too light, or what. The teeth look okay from here. I'll open them out and inspect that further. Overall, it's very, very nice. I'm not so sure it's Hiya's best figure or the figure of the year, like a lot of people have been saying. I think it looks good, and I'm excited. I've seen it perform in videos, so I know it's going to perform. So let's see. Let's see if it grows on me. Other figures have as well. So, but I don't know. It's something about it like that feels overdone on the paint job, and I don't know if it's like a pink skin shade. You know, like you see it right there. It's just it adds a gloss to it that I don't know if I'm 100% feeling yet, but let's move on. You know, I still think it's impressive looking. Let's see what he could do posability-wise. Okay, so here we have a very nice pose. Couple of things. One, the tail is kind of stiff, and it's not tremendously bendable. You know what I mean? Like, that's... maybe you had to take a blow dryer to it, but for right now, the tail is as stiff as a board, and the waist is as loose as a prom date. You know what I mean? So the balance wasn't all there for it. You know, like I got it into the pose, but it took me a while. But it is nice. It's nice that we have, you know, movement in his fingers here. You don't have it with the back toes, just the front arms. Yeah, and the inside of the mouth is okay. You have the tongue right here, and You have some nice detail on the tongue. The tongue is movable. You could push it up and down. The teeth are pretty good. They look a little bit on the smaller side, but they're painted well. You're getting some movement on the head, which is still a little stiff here. But I do like, like I got it into the pose. It's just, I got to work out the balance on this right here. Yeah, SH Monster Arts has better. The SH Monster Art Shimo has better balance straight away. You know what I mean? But this is nice. It's, as soon as I put it into this pose, it's looking more impressive than I thought originally. But yeah, that's quite nice. Hopefully we could get some better movement out of the tail. But you do get movement, good movement with the back feet, the way they go flat. And the front feet, you're going to have to get used to a little bit. You're going to have to get used to the way the toes work. You're going to have to adjust those toes as you move them and the leg to work out a pose where you could take an arm off the ground and balance it nicely. But that looks really good. So, yeah. Not hating on it, just pointing out the flaws. I wouldn't be a good reviewer if I didn't do that. Every figure has flaws. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that those flaws are going to deter us from buying it and enjoying it. And, this is an above average figure. So, let's just get that out of the way. It's definitely a lot of work has gone into this figure, and I can respect that. So let's keep posing them. Okay, so now I want to show you about as far down as you could get the head to look, and about as much as you could get as far as crunch at the waist. And the tail is all the way down here. I'm just going to, say a few things. One, the feet and the legs and the toes are loosey-goosey, So is the waist section. So if you crunch the waist, the tails, if you crunch the waist, the legs almost go limp, and then you have to move them back to balance it correctly. So, it's I don't like that about it. It's not a solid feeling when you stand this thing. You move the legs, you move the thing, and the legs immediately. You have to adjust them. The toes you're going to constantly have to adjust to get them straight. But yeah, that's one thing. It's a little on the loose side. And you see that? You see how the legs go in like that? It's got an inclination to do that, where you have to bring it back out. Look at that. See that? How it's just bending in? You have to put it out. I do not like that. You have to constantly shift it to balance it because it's so loose. So and this tail fucking sucks. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. It's stiff as a fucking board. You don't even get any posability on it at all. It's so goddamn stiff. You know what I mean? This figure is good. It's not the powerhouse that other reviewers have been describing it as. I've been seeing people gushing over it, and I'm not seeing that. Do I think it's nice, and do I think it's going to be able to perform and get it into the poses I want to? Yeah, for the most part. I'm not hating on it, so don't take it that way. Don't let it, my opinion on it deter you from picking it up, because it's still mighty nice. It's just not as good as everyone was saying it was. And SH Monster Arts, God, it performs better. I'll have to do a head-to-head video, SH Monster Arts versus Hiya on Shimo, because I want to put them together head-to-head and see who really comes out on top. So far, as far as function and posability, I think the SH Monster Arts is just better. It's more solid, you know. And I haven't decided whether I like these movable toes or I don't like them, because I'm constantly having to turn it around and adjust it so that I get the nail and the toenail in the right spot, you know. But, you know, you're getting decent crunch there, and the head works fairly well. There's no gaps or anything like that. So that's nice, and you can get it to balance itself. The legs are just a little, you know, they have an inclination to be loose and bend in when you pose it. So you have to just be patient, flatten them out, straighten them out, and to balance it correctly. Okay, so that's a very nice standing on his hind legs pose right there. That's awesome. And is it? Yeah, the tail is kind of off the ground. Awesome. So you don't even need the tail to help support this. I thought I had the tail on the ground, but I don't. It's actually just the feet balancing this. So that's nice right there. You know, and this is where like the movable claws come into play when you have, you know, Shimo in a stance like this, in a pose like that. And you could turn the head, make it look like she's looking right at you. That's nice, okay? That's functionality. It's a little loose. I'm not going to, you know, like you have to, it's heavy. It's a little top heavy with the bend at the abdomen section. It just wants to, the legs want to crumble, and it just wants to like fall back down. But you have to, you had to take a little bit of time balancing this. But very nice hind legs pose here. Probably one of the best I've seen. So let me give this figure some credit. That looks nice. Okay, that's really nice. That's nice at how low you could get this thing, and how, you know, how the feet function. Look at how low you could get that, and the bend at the feet right there that allows you to achieve that pose. Tail is loosening up a little bit, so, you know, I think it's just stiff. Maybe it'll get better as it goes. Still not the greatest in terms of posability. It's super crunchy, but it got a little bit looser and is performing a little bit better. And the overall figure is starting to look better because of the functionality of it, you know. And we knew that. I knew that. You know what I mean? I saw the way. I see some guy posed this. Some guy's reviews, I'm trying to remember who he was. Shout out to you, man. But you were posing this thing like your dog sit. I don't know if anybody saw that. Refresh my memory on who that was. But he was basically posing it like his dogs, and it achieves those poses. So, very nice. Also, you know, you could push the toenails down like it's digging into the ground, which really helps this pose along as well. So I like the functionality of that. That's a bonus right there. And, yeah, that's just, wow. That's a cool pose, and that looks nice. Okay, so now here's a nice running pose. Tail off the ground and 2 feet off the ground. So you can balance it on 2 feet. I do not like how loose and floppy the legs and feet are. They make for, you know, balancing this figure for poses like this a little difficult. You can achieve it, though, so that's all that really matters. And look at that. Look at the detail, you know, going down his body as we see him in a pose like that. That looks impressive. Details on the legs and feet look so nice. Yeah, the detail on this figure is commendable and amazing. And the functionality is paying off. So it's conquering its flaws, similar to Scar King. You know what I mean? That also was not that easy to get balanced and posed. But this is looking pretty good. That looks nice. You're getting real crunch at the waist here to give Shimo a nice turning to the side pose. That looks amazing. Tail is getting better and better. It's a weird tail. It's still not giving me as much bend as I prefer, but it is starting to bend more and function slightly better. So, but yeah, that looks good, and everything functions in unison. You really get pretty good crunch there to give him this turning to the side pose, and that's nice. Okay, that's nice. I like how you could bend the claws in and make him look like he's doing a nice swiping pose like that. Awesome. See that? I got them bent in. Really, really looks cool. Makes it look like he's swiping with his claws. I like that. It took a lot of work to balance him like that because he is top heavy and the legs are so floppy, you know. I'm like sweating to get him into a pose like that, but there he is, and he could do it. So that's really all that matters. It is kind of frustrating that the legs are not like I like the movement and the functionality of the legs, but they're a little loose at times where you really got to work it to balance him properly. I would have liked it if he wasn't as top heavy as he was, so it's a little easier to achieve these poses. But that looks fantastic, man. So I'm not going to nitpick it. Looks great. I just want to show you about how wide you could get the arms and the legs. That's what we're getting on it. It goes about that wide out. You know, no matter how far it goes out, you could get the feet flat. You know, so yeah. If you want to get them low like that and really get them wide, you could do that quite easily. So basically, yeah, we can't get Shimo to sit like a dog, you know. I'm not sure if that's something we should be bragging about. I mean, it's good functionality. It's great that you could cross the arms like that, put it like that. These legs, God, man, I don't know. I just, like, I like the how you're able to move them. I just don't like how loose they are, you know. It's a problem. It's a problem of this figure. It's a flaw, you know what I mean? Like, it's a flaw and it's a highlight at the same time, if that makes any sense, you know? Because it allows you to do it, but it's so flimsy and floppy, you really have to, like, take your time to perfect the pose. But that looks cool, though, man. We're not going to hate. Okay, another very nice pose right here. The tail, while it does give you bend, it just doesn't really hold the pose. You can't really get, like, a good curvature on it, but whatever. You know, that's neither here nor there. It looks pretty good. The detail is popping. Paint job's okay. Sculpt is good. Dorsal plates are nice. I really like that you could move the front claws like this because you could, you know, you make it really look realistic with these type of scraping or scratching or, you know, those type of poses like swatting. Yeah. So, but the only thing I don't like, though, is, like, how floppy the legs are. It really doesn't want to stay like this. Watch, because I'm going to show you everything. Watch this. Yeah. That's what it wants to do. You know? And it's like, you have to keep posing. See that? How the foot turns? It just, the legs are so floppy. That's the kind of patience you have to have with it to pose it, but it does that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like that, you know? It's, yeah. So just wanna, you gotta note that. You know what I mean? That's me telling you part of what I think is a flaw. But then, you know, you could really push the boundaries with this figure and have it redeem itself. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm taking the flaws, noting them, and then pushing the boundaries with it to have it overcome those flaws and get it into a beautiful pose like this. You have to be patient with it, but you can do that. And that, my friends, is a really dynamic pose with the tail basically helping to balance it nicely. Yeah, and that's about the tallest you could get him, which is insane, man. Insane. And I really like the bend. Really like the articulation of the arms. The arms are great, you know, like the way the claws bend and the way the bend at the elbow that you get. That's pretty nice. You could stand her up pretty tall. Yeah, nice. And you could really have fun with these claws too. You know what I mean? Look at that. That's a nice pose right there. Awesome. I love how that's, oh man, where it's like her claws are like almost digging into the ground like that. Fantastic, man. This is cool. This figure is growing on me for sure. Yeah, and I think it could do a lot. So, yeah, I think overcoming its flaws to me, for sure. You know, because we have to be realistic and accept that every figure is going to have flaws. Well, maybe not every figure, but it's a rare occasion when you get like a true 5-star figure, like something with no flaws at all. You know, and there are cases of it, but you know, it's few and far between. Usually every figure has some sort of flaws. But this is nice, man. Look at that, bro. You could really, yeah. I like the way the legs ultimately work when you get them to, you know. If those joints were a little tighter, I think it would be better. But very nice, very nice. Yeah, also note that you'll be doing a lot of like toe adjusting and leg adjusting as you pose this figure, as well as like the waist. But the waist, you could kind of click it into place a little bit better. But for sure, you're going to be messing with the legs and feet quite a bit. You're going to be messing with these toes because they do turn around, so you have to straighten them. And yeah, see, the tail will let you bend it quite a bit, but it doesn't necessarily, you know, give you the curl you're looking for or hold the pose that you want. Yeah. You have to adjust, like, all of the parts every time you pose it because it's so loose that, you know, that's what winds up happening. But, man, it looks good, though, once you get it into a pose. It looks, it comes to life, you know. And, you know, respect to Hiya, man, because, like, the detail on this is absolutely incredible. All the way through it, you know. Very, very nice. It's a nice choice, what they did for the dorsal plates. I gotta say, they look very nice. And this thing is just chock full of detail. Eyes are just okay, though. They're not bad, but they're just serviceable, you know? And I like the detail around the face. Tongue looks good. Teeth look pretty good. Yeah. Now, I'm not quite sure if Shimo could swim, but this figure definitely allows for a beautiful straight-ahead swimming pose. You can see the functionality of the articulation of the limbs here is just very, very good. Lets you do pretty much anything you want to a certain extent. I really love how low and like of crawling you could get this thing. Look at how the back of the legs function, how it allows you to really get it flat and low to the ground. um, where she's like just crawling and creeping. That's super nice too. Very, very cool. Just want to show you how much, you could bring the hands up to his face even. Look at that. Yo, Paulie, your sister's over here with me. Give you a call back later. Look at that. Awesome, man. All right, let's go. Head up. SH Monster Arts versus Hiya. Which is better? Wow. I mean, I gotta tell you, I think it's probably closer to a draw than anything else. As each figure has its good points and its flaws. I like the overall general look of the SH Monster Arts better. Yeah, I like the flow of the articulation going through the SH Monster Arts. The SH Monster Arts is a little bit more durable. Where, the Hiya has better feet. God, I don't know. I think the SH Monster Arts face is better, honestly. I think the teeth are better. I think the eyes are better. The dorsal plates are beautiful on both. Maybe the color of them is better on the Hiya. They both have kind of like not the greatest tails. Neither tail is that great. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I mean that's a wash as far as the tails. I feel like the SH Monster Arts is a more solid figure that holds its poses a little bit better, where the joints are loose on the Hiya. If the SH Monster Arts had a little bit of a better paint job, like maybe some dry brushing on it, it would really look better. Instead of being such a pure white. Whereas this, I feel like the paint job is almost a little too overdone. Where that, you have to see it in person, really, because I'm looking at it on camera, and it doesn't jump out at you as much as you see this pink color in person a lot more. And I don't know. It's like sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I think, man, they SH Monster Arts has a better torso for real, like the crunch of the torso, I think, where this is just this is loose. They both perform well. I don't know. I guess these fingers and nails are a little more accurate. These are nice. They're painted black. But, yeah, you might get a little bit more flexibility with the articulation from the Hiya. I don't know. Man, it's a tough choice. I don't think the Hiya blows the SH Monster Arts away like a lot of reviewers are saying. You know what I mean? I think they both have high and low points. I don't know. They're both about the same weight, even. I don't know. I mean, I think it's as close as you could get to a tie as possible. I think the flaws and cancel each other out, and the good things kind of cancel each other out. I'm happy to have both of them. I don't know, man. I have to do what I need to do is I need to do a top 10 list of the most recent figures I purchased and really think about it. and see what really actually belongs on that list. But here you can see them head to head, and I don't know. Right now, I can't say I recommend one over the other, you know. Of course, the SH Monster Arts is much more expensive, you know what I mean? So, for that reason, a lot of people might go with the Hiya, because it does perform. I don't know. I don't know. I would have wanted both of them regardless, so, you know. It's a tough choice. It really is. I feel like you definitely get better neck and head movement on the SH Monster Arts than you do on the Hiya, you know. Whereas you might get more flexibility with the arms. I don't know. The SH Monster Arts feels sturdier in the limbs than the Hiya does. You know. It's whatever your preference is, really. I don't think either one of these is the clear-cut winner and knocks the other one out of the box. So, it's really all I have to say about that. I'm just happy to own both. I think both are above average quality figures, you know. Okay, I really love how the posability allows you to recreate this scene. When Shimo first came out and Scar King wanted her to blow the ice breath at Kong, but she didn't want to at first, so he pointed the crystal at her and it just knocked her head to the ground from being in so much pain. And kudos to Hiya for that kind of posability to you know, be able to put it into a rare pose like that. That's awesome. And, you know, of course, here's how he scales with SH Monster Arts Scar King, which is just out of scale. He's too big. You know what I mean? Yeah, certainly. And he's certainly going to be too big for the Hiya, which makes you wonder what the scale of the Hiya Scar King is going to be. You know, that'll be interesting. We'll see if it's the correct scale with the Hiya Shimo. But never know. But still, all of these figures look nice together, you know. I'm just using the SHM Scar King because we don't have a Hiya Scar King yet. But, you know, that looks pretty nice anyhow. And kudos to the dorsal plates here, which actually gives you a nice support to stand Scar King. And we're going to do the same thing with SH Monster Arts Kong, which actually, that scales about right. You know. I mean, you know, like Shimo needs to be even a little bit bigger than that. But I like how on both the Hiya and the SH Monster Arts, the dorsal plates give you support for either Scar King or Kong to stand on them. That's dope, man. And, yeah. We see these lines, SH Monster Arts and Hiya, they can work in unison. You can get them both. One doesn't have to necessarily be better than the other one. Why not collect them all? You know, that looks pretty good. Now, of course, we don't have Kong out yet or Scar King out yet. And we don't even have Godzilla Evolved out yet. So I have the Godzilla Re-Evolved to show you how it scales. I mean, it's okay. Godzilla's probably a little too big. You know what I mean? I think that, you know, I think SH Monster Arts might scale a little bit better. Let's take a look. Yeah. SH Monster Arts is definitely going to scale better in terms of the size of Shimo to the size of Godzilla Evolved. And yeah. So just note that. It's not terrible, but, you know, it's, you know, we've seen it before, you know. Not everybody has the correct scaling with these figures. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But I feel like SH Monster Arts Godzilla Evolved definitely scales about right with SH Monster Arts Shimo. Where as far as the Hiya goes, Godzilla might be a tad too big. But Still looks nice posed together anyway. Alright, so that's going to wrap this one up. I definitely want to maybe put some quick shine on this and tighten up some of these joints so it's not so flappy, loosey-goosey, you know. Do I recommend this figure? Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's a tremendous figure regardless. It's not the end-all, be-all. You know what I mean? It's cool, and it's an above-average figure, and it is one of the better figures to come out recently. So... and it is well done. You know, you have a decent paint job, in my opinion. Excellent detail. Very nice paint job on the dorsal plates. Good dorsal plates with a good paint job. Fairly decent looking face and sculpt, but you know, over the top, great articulation. You know, minus the looseness of the joints, the articulation is great. There's not a pose you really can't do with it if you spend some time to balance it correctly. I happen to like this very much so, and I'm very happy that I now own it. If you like what you see, go out and get you some Hiya, Exquisite Basic Shimo. Like the goddamn video and subscribe to my channel. And I will be back at you with another one shortly. I already got one lined up on deck. So, peace.